Greetings and salutations, my artsy friends. How is everyone today? So good, I hope. So good. I have so much to talk to you about. It always feels like that, especially when we've been gone away from each other for what seems like forever, you know. Hi, Debbie. How are you? Welcome. So, let's see. What do I have to say first? Well, gosh, I don't know. Everything's exciting, you know, in the world of art. I did want to talk a little bit about, hey, Beth. Welcome. If you're here, be sure to say hello. I want to know who I'm talking to. It's kind of a weird phenomenon to have this one-sided conversation. So the more you can engage with me, the better I feel about things. Good morning, Tam. How are you? Beautiful Minnesota. How about you, Beth? Where are you watching from? So it was such an amazing mail day for me yesterday. Do you ever have those days where like you're waiting for a package to arrive? And it doesn't matter that you ordered it yourself or that you paid for it yourself. It's that Beth, Michigan. Have we talked about this before? Are you down in the western, in the like southwestern corner of the state? Because my family's from the polar opposite, Sault Ste. Marie, the northeastern corner of the state, of the UP. So you can send things to me to my post office box. And I said we had mail call today. And I have some mail to share with you that I got. Shut it from Debbie. Oh, a suburb of Detroit. Okay, cool. So, you know what? That's so funny. I opened up my post office box and I pulled this out and I was like, that looks like my handwriting. And guess what? It is. She cut it apart, the envelope that I had sent her, and stuck it on there. Stop it! And then this little strip. Stop it right now, Debbie. I'm all about that. And then look at this gorgeous card. So she used the envelope that I had sent her. She played around and made it the background. Stop it right now. And then this gorgeous hibiscus from the Dana art printable. And then she wrote me this beautiful note. And she stamped this gorgeous little mini stamp from Unity. Sorry, I haven't had much water in my brain just yet. So I guess as excited as I am to start the day, I guess I need to kind of ease myself in. Whatever. You girls know me. You know how I am. So I have that to share with you. Thank you, Debbie. My poor feeble brain. I'm telling you right this minute. Some days it is just slow to kick into gear. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about was I was at Carmen's house the other day, and she and I were talking about, we're always experimenting with this or that or whatever. So she and I had talked about, just just a sec. So she and I had talked about when that not everybody has a laser printer, right? So she has an inkjet printer, but what she did was oh, the dots from you got the dots from Myrtle. It's pronounced Myrtle. Isn't that funny? But yes, I got some dots. Well, I have some on the way, so I'm going to have another cool artsy day, a great mail day very soon. So anyway, hey Carm, hey Charmaine. So Charmaine and I were having a little conversation this morning about the distress crayon, the new distress watercolor pencils. So I'll talk to you about that in a sec. So anyway, so Carmen has an inkjet printer. So she printed one of the vintage Papeteries first, and then she printed September on top of that, and then she heat set her printed piece, and she heat set it with her iron. So she just put a paper towel down and a paper towel on top, and she just on the hottest setting with dry. You know, you don't want steam, and she just heat set it with her iron. And let that cool down. And then once that was cooled down, that's when she came in with some watercolor ground, the watery watercolor ground, and then we've got this, right? So here's the ones that she's painted last week. So these she painted with Karen markers, because I was painting with Karen markers. And then this one, do you remember when I was painting the rainbow flower? I'm still working on that. I'll share with you how far I've gotten. But anyway, do you remember we were talking about the rainbow flower last week? So she did Karen markers first, and then she did colored pencils. You know, colored pencils can always crisp things up. Do you know what I mean? And just give you some really nice depth. And then she created this one. Shut it right now. Isn't that gorgeous? So I can't remember where she got this hexagon die. It might have been from Art Impressions. I think it might be them. Anyway, but look isn't it, I just love the layers and the texture, and again, this was Karen markers first with colored pencils on top. I love it, love it, love it. So, I just wanted to share those with you and Carmen's process, and because maybe you can fiddle with that process too if you have an inkjet printer and not a laser printer. Remember, laser printers don't have to be expensive. My laser printer is, I told you, it was $30. Jeff got it on OfferUp. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and set this aside. Well, okay, I have a couple of things. So, this is the one that, remember, I had started painting last week with my Karen markers. Right? So here's my rainbow flower. I don't know, my rainbow aster. I haven't decided what I want to do in the very center. And so I'm just kind of leaving it until something hits me. This flower, shut up. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. Because those Karen markers just blend so gorgeously. I'm just kind of mad for that one. This one, mad for also. I think I want to come in with a couple more colors. I don't know just yet. This one, I started deepening this a little bit. I'm kind of getting there. Do you know what I mean? But I still have this one to color, and I thought this one is the one that I can play on today with, and then this art printable where I printed the vintage Papeterie number 6. And then I printed the September art printable right on top of that. Like seriously, I print the first one, I print, because I'm mad for all of these vintage papers underneath. I just feel like they just give, I mean, I've always used vintage papers. Sometimes I've just drawn directly on top of them. I have so many vintage papers. I told you guys, the whole homeowners, if they found out how much paper we have in our house, they would probably triple our rates. But anyway, so I just printed vintage Papeterie first, and then I just took that sheet that I had printed on and I ran it right back through my printer and printed September on top of it. So give that trick a try about making layers. So then you've already started, before you've even touched any kind of color to your paper, you've already started, you've got two layers already before you even begin. Okay, so now let's talk about the Distress watercolor pencils. So they came in my mail yesterday. So I got all 3 sets. I don't know if they're in order. I don't know. Okay, here are my initial observations. Number 1, I know these colors, right? I've been playing with them forever and a day in all the different distress products, right? With inks and oxides and sprays and crayons and markers. I've played with all of them. So I know these colors. I love that part. And like, I love that, but I'll get to play with these colors in a different sort of way. It's not like I don't have a million sets of watercolor pencils already. I do. But here's so the first thing I want to talk to you about is I did make a swatch chart of all 3 of these sets, right? So, a couple of things that Charmaine and I were talking about this morning. They do have a little bit of a film on them when you first start fiddling with them, but that you can kind of break through that pretty quickly, and then they paint. But I will say that I found lighter colors. It took a little bit more fiddling to get the paint going. And that may be because they're brand new. That's what I'm kind of thinking. And these 2 I mixed up. And I knew I was doing it as I was coloring on the paper. So I just did a scribble of it, like as a watercolor pencil, and then with it with water added. Yeah. So what I did, Charmaine, was I scribbled with my pencil first, and then I dipped my pencil in water, and I scribbled with my wet watercolor pencil. So that's what I did for my swatch chart. But I will tell you, always make a swatch chart. It makes all the difference. It makes all the difference when you are creating, because you just have this reference, right? This morning I was fiddling around with this. So I started painting this poppy on the Lucinda art printable. I started painting this last night. I could not wait to open up those stinking I could not wait. Carmen, so funny. She was here and she brought me some beans. So, I'm a happy girl. And her samples. And we just chatted away. And then as she's leaving, she goes, "Oh, you have some packages." And it was like, Jeff Scott. And then she goes, "Oh, you have one more." And she picked it up and she goes, "And it's from Joggles." Can I tell you, I love Joggles. I love that they are a small business. I think they're from Rhode Island, and they are a very artsy community. They are like, that's where Elizabeth St. Helier's stencils are, and her foam stamps. You've seen me use both of those. She has, they're amazing. They are like a scrapbook store, but with a much more artsy bent, and that's my jam. Anyway, they had and I was at Carmen's house last week, and I was talking about, I was intrigued by these, and she said, did you get the Juggles email? And I said, yeah. And she goes, you need to open it because she's having a 20% off sale on these. So they were normally like $25 a set, weren't they, Charmaine? And so with Juggles sale, I got them for $19, $19.99 or something like that. And then, so including shipping, they were $68 by the time they got to me. So if I would have bought them someplace else, it would have been $75 less the shipping. It was $75, and I got them for $68, and I had them shipped to me. How crazy is that? They have my loyalty. They're an amazing company. I just love them. They have cool videos. They have cool products. Just check them out. Anyway, so I started this morning, and I was so happy that I had my swatch chart, because I had started my flower with Kitsch Flamingo, and then I used picked raspberry on top of that. And then I started my leaves, my foliage, with crushed olive, and then I came in with peeled paint on top of that. I'm not done, I don't think, but oh my goodness, it was super fun to paint. It was super fun to paint. Let's see, what else will I tell you about them? I find that they are, so I'm going to put this down and we can chat. So someone had, so I just started coloring. Everybody take a drink. So they're in 3 sets. I don't know the order in which they were broken into sets. I don't really care. I will probably end up putting these all in a cup because I like to see the colors. Do you know what I mean? But the packaging is cool, right? The lid, right? The lid fits on like that. That's kind of cool because you can still see your... Goodbye, Charmaine. The lid, you can see your colors. That's cool. But another thing I was going to say is when you open them, they have this piece of plastic in here like this. And I took that out, and I was like, palette. As a palette that I can mix colors on. So I'm keeping those. So let's start coloring, and I can just chat away, and you can... If you have questions or you want to say something about them, we can do it that way. Okay, so one thing that I was telling Charmaine that I noticed, this is shaded lilac. Shaded lilac is kind of a funny... Okay. This is shaded lilac in Distress ink. This is shaded lilac in a Distress watercolor pencil. This is shaded lilac ink. This is it here as a watercolor pencil. Kind of fascinating, right? So I was thinking that it was kind of, what do I want to say? Like much more periwinkle in the watercolor pencil. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to layer them? So I'm going to, oh, Tim says you're not supposed to squish it, but I kind of do. So let's make some paint there. And then let's wet our brush, tap it off. Let's do this guy over here. Good morning, Denise Harding. How are you? See, look at that. Isn't it pretty? I just felt like it's such a pretty color. And can I tell you, I didn't buy it for the longest because it looked so pastel on the and you know I don't really love a pastel. But then once I started playing with it, I was like, hey, you big dope. Why don't you play with that a little bit more? So I was thinking, why don't we paint it with distress ink, and then we can come in and play with doing some watercolor pencil on top of it. Like, this color is giving me all the happy vibes. I'm mad for it. And I'm feeling like the center should be yellow, don't you think? I just think that would be opposite on the color wheel, that nice contrasting color. And I was kind of feeling like fossilized amber, because it would be so, that golden shade, you know? Kind of feeling that. So, as much as I love, oh my gosh, you guys can't see any of that. I'm so sorry. Sorry, I didn't look up. So sorry. Okay, so I just painted my flower with distress ink that I smushed and made watercolor with. I kind of like any way that I can make watercolor. So one girl's video that I watched, I think her name is Sharon, she talked about making watercolors with the shavings from, because these are a woodless pencil, right? I mean, I'm sure we've all watched the same videos. Because they're a woodless pencil, you can sharpen them, because remember we've talked about colored pencils in general. A blunt end is really blending bliss, and a pointy end is, you're going to get some nice sharp lines, right? But so you can sharpen them. I use my Prismacolor sharpener, but I used that. If you look in there, you can see that one hole is a little bit bigger than the other. I used the bigger hole, just so you know. And I just took it off, and then I sharpened it and saved my shavings on this light paper. I would not compare them to either one of those things, Tam. They kind of are their own thing. So they are not, so if you've ever used Woodies by Stabilo, they're more like that. They are not creamy. I would not describe them as creamy, but I think the thing that you need to think about when considering them is their colors. More than anything, for me, it was their colors. because I know these colors and I really like working with these colors, right? So, okay, so here's the shavings from my pencil, and I'm gonna put them in. I have like 4,000 of these little half pans. I'm gonna put all these shavings in my little half pan, and I can add water to that and mix it, and I have watercolor paint, right? Or I could do the same thing, and I could put the shaving. So let's do this. I'm gonna pull my, set this aside. Pull the top out of my okay, so I'm gonna just have a little bit of, this is something that I saw somebody else do. I think it was Sharon. She just did some shavings on her craft mat, and then she got a little bit of water on there, let it kind of, you know, soak in a little bit. And then I have this, I make a bunch of these beforehand, just kind of when I'm feeling it. So I just took a piece of white cardstock and I embossed it with this. I love this embossing folder because it looks like old cut glass, like a pickle dish, you know. And then I also die cut the edge with a stitched edge. So then we can, right, just get some of that on there. I feel like I want to move that around just a little bit more. My idea was to, yeah, I like that a little bit better. I wanted to make a background with a color and then paint a flower with that same color. Oh, look at some of that pink is still on my, that's so funny. Look, some of my pink, some of those little bits of pink. Oh, I'm kind of digging that. I want the white to stay, but I really want this shaded lavender, or excuse me, lilac, to kind of enhance my embossed background. This was my thought last night when I was starting to think about playing in a different way, but I had lost my steam. I am an early to bed kind of girl. Okay, that. So my thought was, wouldn't it be cool to make a background like that, but then do a flower with the same properties on top of it, right? We'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. And this is pretty much dry. So let's dry this. How are we doing on time, you guys? Oh, we're good, we're good, we're good. So I'm going to dry this, and then now I want to come in with my watercolor pencils and fiddle a little bit more. Start to build up that, because this feels quite muted, and I want to punch it up a little bit. I'm thinking maybe I'll just tap that off, because I'm kind of digging that. right? I'm kind of digging that. Okay, so now let's come in with that. Do you see how much this feels much more blue to me? Maybe it's just richer. I don't know. But I want the intensity of my flower to equal the intensity of my background. You know what I mean? So I will say they do color on like, I'm coloring all of my places where I know it's going to be darker, right? The base of the petal, the vein, where one petal lays on top of another. Here we go. This one we have two petals super close to one another. So if we make this one darker, then this one's gonna pop, right? There's 36 colors. So there's something for everybody. And you can lay one color on top of another color, which I think is a super cool, there, do you see how like I can immediately, by dipping my brush in water, I dip my brush in water, tap it off on my paper towel, and then come in and just start to move that color. And you see how that's just, it almost kind of takes on like a glow, which I'm kind of here for. Who are we fooling? Not kind of here for. I'm all about it. So I did the vein. I want to have that to have a little bit of dimension. Tap, tap, tap. Pull that color out. There we go. And I'm not like fully blending it in. I want a little bit of lines to show. Do you know what I mean? And I really like when you're working with a pencil, I like a watercolor, I like a pencil on watercolor paper because I like that texture. Some people not so much, but that's like something I really like. So that's something you kind of need to consider. When you're coloring, I like to leave a little bit of that pencil texture, you know? So as I'm coloring it, or as I'm starting to enhance that purple, I'm starting to see like the other colors that are within this, right? We've already talked about, we want the center, we're thinking fossilized amber, right? But now I'm also thinking like I want to bring some kind of a blue out in here, maybe a pink. So I'm thinking, because do you see how up here we have almost a pink? So what if we came in with Kitsch Flamingo first? And, oh, I wanted fossilized, oh, I have mustard seed or fossilized amber. Let's start with mustard seed for the centers. And then we can come in with fossilized amber because it's a little bit deeper. So we can also scribble on our craft mat, right? And make a little paint in that way, right? And then just start to begin the process of the center of this flower. I love that. Okay, so we could do the same thing with our pink, right? We could scribble down some pink here and then make it into a paint, right? And we could come in this way, or we could just scribble some on. And remember, by adding another color like this, you can automatically have a little bit of form, right? And it's just going to make everything richer and more, have more form and more shape. So I'm just little by little building up this pink, the addition of this pink. I don't know if you can see what that does, but there, can you see where I've added pink? So it starts to look almost ethereal. That's what it looks like to me. Hi Katie, hi Cam, hi Laura. Holy tamale, so many new people. I didn't look up. Okay, I'm gonna scribble on some more of that pink. And I don't know that I want to color that, that I want to wet that just yet. I mean, you can, that's the thing, right? You can do whatever you want. Let's come in with just a little bit of Kitsch Flamingo, right? And it doesn't need to be much at all. So like this petal is folded over. So we could add some on top. We could add some on the base that's light. We're just little by little building up that form, and I think by doing this you start to pay attention to each petal, and when you do that you just kind of slow your roll, you know what I mean? And that's a good thing, because art should be nice and slow. Hi Sarah Arnold. Nice and slow. And again, my pencil is barely touching the surface. I'm barely touching the surface. And I just love that, like, little numbers are popping through, little lines and letters. Oh my gosh, it makes me so happy. So again, barely touching the surface, but you see how just the addition of those other colors, how that has started to build that. Everybody take a drink. Hi Keels. Oh, I said fossilized amber next. Okay. So because this is these spaces are small, I want a sharp point, right? So I'm going to sharpen this, but I will leave my shavings on this craft mat, because I can't waste, right? Okay, So now let's come in, let's deepen. Oh, that's a nice, that is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. I love that there's a little bit of purple in here, so we've got like a little bit of, it's a really artsy vibe when you print that vintage papeterie first, and then print your printable next, and then add your color. I can't tell you how beautiful this is. The colors on top are just, and those little lines and the numbers peeking through. Oh, I'm loving it. And the letter, someone's cursive writing from a long, long time ago. I just think cursive writing is so, it's such a reflection of a person, isn't it? So look at that. Just the addition of that little bit of fossilized amber, right? But now look, we still have aster, right? So let's think about, I'm thinking I want to just add some color right there. In these thickened down strokes. There we go. Tap, tap, tap. Then let's move that color just, let's soften it just a little bit with our brush. And I see that I'm going to want to deepen this more. Like once this is dry, I'm going to come in with that color, and I want to play with that a little bit more. Maybe I'll even add some of the pinks in there. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like I really want to build this with more color to mimic what's going on down here in the flower. Charmaine was telling me that she really liked the white crayon for dots, that she had created some watercolor paint and then splattered. So I think I want to, I don't know exactly how I'm going to die cut this or whatever onto this background. Maybe I won't even use this background. I don't know. I just thought that it might be kind of a cool juxtaposition. This is feeling really dark to me, so I think I want to, I don't know. I need to come up with something else. I'm not loving it as much, but I'm not ready to throw in the towel either. It's still quite wet. I saw somebody do this, so I'm going to dry it, and then I could come in with a blending tool and put some shaded lilac on top of that. See what happens. Because this is kind of sitting on top like a like dimensional. See what happens. Uh-oh. Here we go. Doing that trick where we come in from the side. You know, it's so funny. The addition of all of these, look at it's bringing out that embossing, that's for sure. Kind of digging this. And I'm not putting any kind of pressure on my blending tool. I want it nice and a light touch, right? But this is still a little bit damp, so let's... You know, I like to dry in between each layer. So I just got my pencils last night. So I've shown you what I've played with so far. I just see like endless possibilities of play, like more and more and more play. Let's do some water. See if we can get some water spots to kind of activate. See what happens. Has anyone else got them? Yeah, Sarah, the same thing here. I got mine, but I haven't. I just started playing with them a little bit last night. So I just feel like there's a learning curve, but I will say, as long as you don't compare them to something else, just kind of treat them like their own thing, I think that you will have lots and lots of fun. You will, like I said, because you know the colors, you will have yourself a time. Okay. Let's fiddle with this a little bit more. I feel like I want to get some more, a little bit more color in there. Hey Lori, how are you? So my vote is yes, I like them. I like them very much. And I told you, don't compare them to something else, because I don't think that's why they weren't created to be the world's best watercolor pencils. They were created to be distress watercolor pencils. Do you know what I'm saying? They're let's get a little bit of this pink in here. And as long as if you are someone who's been around, then you know these colors. You know these colors. I think that's the thing that was the most significant for me, was I was so excited to play with these colors and see, because I love these colors, right? I'm gonna beef that up with a little bit more purple. Just layers and layers and layers. Now I'm coming in to just get a little bit more texture in there. And I want that where the petals meet the center of the flower. I want those nice and dark, so I have a really nice contrast. So that's going to make each one of those petals stand on their own, you know? And we want that. We want each petal to be its own girl or boy, whatever. Oh, it's so pretty. And I'm not going to, so Denise, these are the new Distress Watercolor Pencils by Ranger and Tim Holtz. So I, well, look, I've already messed them all up, all the different, oh well, all the different palettes. Let's see, I know that one goes there, and I know that one goes there. I don't know. You know what? It doesn't matter because they're going to be wherever they are. So I got all 3 sets, and they are colors that you know. If you are a distress ink person, that's the thing that struck me the most was the colors, right? So you can enhance all kinds of things that you've already created, or that you can do, you can use them with or alone. You can use them with other distress components, or you can use them alone. This one I did with, right? So I painted with Distress Ink Shaded Lilac, and then I came in with my Distress watercolor pencils on top of that. This one I created with just Distress watercolor pencils. I wouldn't say one way is better than the other. They're just different. And I think, remember, we've talked so much about the way you get to know your art materials is by using them over and over and over again. Try them with water, try them without water, try them with a little bit of water, try them with a lot of water, try them as watercolor paints, try them just as a colored pencil, try them, do you know what I mean? Layer colors, that's the way that you're going to get to know them. And I told you, anything, any art supply that you have at your house, you can master it. It just takes some play, right? Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just say, look, what can I do with this? What can I do with that? So for me, I will say Distress watercolor crayons, 2 thumbs up. I love them. I love them. Like when we saw that box, I'm just gonna tell you. Carmen was like, Joggles, it says Joggles, because I had ordered them when I was at her house the week before, and they came lickety split. Like 4 or 5 days from Rhode Island. That's not bad at all. So I'm telling you, we ripped open that box and we ripped open these tins, and we colored on the receipt, on the back side of the receipt. Oh, let's try this, let's try that. just sitting on the couch, coloring away. I mean, not much finer than that, is there? I don't think so. I'm feeling like because this background is kind of gray, I kind of love that. I don't know. Like, maybe I want to enhance the gray a little bit. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I want to leave the contrast the way it is. Do you know what I mean? Oh, Denise, you wouldn't be sorry. I don't think. I mean, they are an investment. I will say that. They were, most retailers have them at $24.99 a set. Joggles happened to have a sale where they had 20% off. I mean, I try really hard to just support small businesses because I'm a small business, you know, and I know how every sale counts. That when you buy something from a small business, you are supporting that person. Do you know what I mean? You are paying for more art supplies for me, for helping me, you know, keep the lights on at my house. I think that, so I try very hard to support small businesses. And Joggles is an artsy type like us dream. Check them out. Check them out. And just watch to see if, because they're brand new out here in the big bad world, there might be others that are having some sales. Just watch to see what happens out there, because like I said, because I had that 20% off, I got all 3 sets plus shipping for $68, which is unheard of, right? Because they would have been $75 without shipping. But I will say 2 thumbs up. They are not creamy like an Inktense, I will say. They are harder. Like the pigment in there is, whatever the makeup is it's harder. But remember when I was painting with my Neocolor crayons? I know these are 2 different mediums, but remember we had talked about the Neocolor. You can feel the moment it breaks. Not breaks in 2, but like that it gives way to the water. I felt the same thing with these. I know the moment it breaks and gives into the water and then just becomes this beautiful, dreamy paint. So, I will be playing with mine a lot. But I'm also playing with gouache. If you have ever been intrigued about gouache, this month's Artsy Alchemy is all about gouache. And there are many kinds of gouache. I'm going to show you all the kinds of gouache I have and tell you everything I know about it. And we'll have something to paint, of course. We'll probably make a swatch chart. Anyway, I hope that you'll join me for that. And then we are also going to be playing with gouache in Let's Get Artsy with our Bibles. So even if you are not a Bible journaler, you can take that artwork and put it in your art journal. Or even if you, so some people take both classes so that they can have double the art and double the info. And it's always 1 weekend a month now. It is the 24th and 25th, I believe. That's Saturday and Sunday. Registration is open for both of those classes, and they're only $20 a piece. And I think you will have fun, because I will have fun. And when we hang together, we always have fun, right? So I need to go make some chicken salad for a little gathering. But when I get home from that, I will be right back here playing with these. I highly recommend them. I hope that you have a friend who got some so you can play with them a little bit. Maybe one of your local stores has them that you can play with it a little bit. Or you just are crazy like me and just order them and play with them. They're super, super fun. I mean, it's colors, right? What can be wrong with that? Not much. I adore you all. I am so grateful that you take time out of your busy days to hang with me and support my small business. It means the world. Me too, Sarah. Me too. Is it any wonder that we hang out together, Sarah? Come on. Anyway, thank you so much, ever so much for supporting me. If you're watching this on the replay, if you would just let me know that you are here. Leave me a comment or do hashtag replay or I don't know. Whatever. Just let me know that you are here. And be sure to hit that thumbs up. The more thumbs up, the more like when the class is over, the more it says likes in the left-hand corner of the video, the lower left-hand corner, the better the algorithm works for me. I hope everybody has an amazing day, a terrific Tuesday. I sure will. Oh, thanks, Deb. I appreciate that. And you are in my thoughts and prayers. And so is our Vicky. She is having her second eye surgery tomorrow. So everybody send some positive vibes her way. I adore you all. Thanks so much, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.